Welcome to our next lab, Monitor a Data Warehouse in Microsoft Fabric. This lab should take us approximately 30 minutes to complete if we're unfamiliar with Microsoft Fabric. Since we are familiar with Microsoft Fabric, it's going to take us considerably less time to complete this lab. All right, so let's jump into this. The first task in this lab is to create a workspace. We can see we can create workspaces right here in the top on the left panel, and we're going to look at this plus new workspace button at the bottom. We're going to name this workspace DP-600 Lab 8. Make sure that we have the trial or the premium capacity or the fabric capacity enabled and hit apply. All right, there you go. We have our workspace created. Let's go back to that workspace. There you go. And the next task in this workspace is going to be to create that sample data warehouse again. So let's go back to our workspace and create a new item. And we're going to scroll down to the store data section and create this new sample workspace, sample warehouse, which is going to be called sample DW. All right. And here you go. We have our data warehouse created. It's not completely created because we don't have the semantic model yet, but give it a couple of seconds. There you go. Now we have our workspace created. The next thing we're going to do is explore the dynamic management views. So in the sample data warehouse, let's open it now. We're going to open a new SQL query. And we're going to copy and paste this query, which is select star from sys dm executed connections. So if we open up the schemas here, we should see those views right here. So let's run that. And you can see these are the executed connections that we have. In this data warehouse. Let's modify it and now query the executed sessions. And we can see all the session IDs, for example. And last but not the least, we also have the executed requests. All right, so we have some executed requests, some task management, and some background processes which are running in this data warehouse. Now let's modify this SQL request to use all three dynamic management views. We're going to be using executed request, executed sessions, and executed connections, and run that. Oh, let me run that again. And we can see we have just one session that's currently running with session ID 56 with login name Krista, which is my name, and which means that there is only one session that request that is currently running, which is this request, this SQL query, which we have just run. All right. Now we're going to open up a new SQL query, and we're going to paste this code, which is going to basically create an infinite loop. So let's run this. And this is going to be running infinitely. Let me see if I don't have the tables created in here yet. All right, so there's something wrong when I created the sample data warehouse. There's no data in there, so let's create a new sample data warehouse. Hopefully this time it works. This data warehouse should work. Let's take a look and see if we have our table. See, there we go. So let's create that new SQL query and run it. This is going to create an infinite loop. You're going to see it's not going to stop. And let's return to the other query. So I'm just going to create a new SQL query and put the code that we've already tested out, where it only showed one single query before. And you can see now there are two sessions and two requests. One is the one that's running in an infinite loop, and the other one is the one that just executed this query itself. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and cancel this one and close all query tabs. Very good. All right. Now let's explore the query insights um, um, part, which we can see over here. Let's copy this code into a new SQL query and paste it. And now we're querying the query insights executed request history. Let's run that. So this is completely blank because we have not run, we have not had that many requests in this data warehouse yet. So that's why you can see it's pretty blank. Because query insights does take some time for it to gather all of the data in here. Let's run the frequently run queries. This is also going to give us not going to give us that many results because, as usual, query insights is still warming up. It will be, for example, if we run this query again, we should have, for example, besides this query which I'm running, we should have another one which is supposed to be for query insights, a session which should be running in the background, which is not available, not yet here. So because of that, it doesn't have any data because that process is not collecting data yet from my data warehouse. That process, once it's launched, it will always be there in the background. Even if you cancel it, end the session, it will always be there in the background. All right. And then for the last one, we have the long running queries, which again, because Query Insights doesn't have any data yet, we don't have anything here yet. But once you have some data in here, you should have, once you have this running for quite a bit of time, and it's not a brand new data warehouse, all of these Query Insights views should give you some data for the longest running queries, which are the queries that are taking longest time to give you the results, which are the commonly run or frequently run queries, and also what's the history of your executed requests. All of this data will be stored in these views for you to query later. And with that, we are come to the end of this lab. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lab.